What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bearded Kappa Productions and continuing my reviews of the Final Fantasy series. Up next is Final Fantasy II, originally released on the Famicom in 1988, and we did not get an American release until 2003 on PS1 with Final Fantasy Origins, which released Final Fantasy 1 and 2 with graphical upgrades. Now, not to be confused with the Final Fantasy 2 on Super Nintendo, as that was part 4. It got renamed 2 because they didn't bring over part 2 or 3 originally here in the States because, from my understanding, is they honestly thought they were a little too difficult. RPGs weren't really a mainstay on consoles at this point. On PC, they had a pretty good life, but like on Nintendo and even Genesis and all that, like there just weren't a lot of RPGs. So they thought we couldn't handle it. So we got Final Fantasy 2 over here, but it was really part 4. But Final Fantasy 2 on Famicom has been like, as you can see on the left, it was a lot closer in graphics to Final Fantasy 1, which of course, these were only released a few years apart. So, yeah, not too surprising. Is pretty standard. You can see on the right is Origins, which is how we first got the game. And actually, still been the only way. They've never actually, to my knowledge, ever released the original NES format version of Final Fantasy 2. But we got the graphical upgrades are nice, and there's been little, of course, quality of life changes into the game. As you can see, like, and it's been released on several. Since it got released, it's been like this is the iOS, I believe, version of it. You have like all kind of different graphical upgrades, and the game stars four main characters is Firion, Maria, Guy, great name, right? And Leon. But you do have a rotating cast of characters throughout. From I see you have Gordon on this one, as well as Layla, one of the last few. And I think my personal favorite, a lot of people, is Minwu there on the bottom. And they all had different classes. They're all basically different classes, abilities, and different techniques that help you throughout the game. Now, the detriment of this game is, unfortunately, the leveling up system. Not unheard of nowadays, but really different for its time. You don't level up through traditional experience points with this one. You actually just level up your stats. You hit with a sword, your sword ability goes up. You get hit by an enemy or your party members, which is a way to kind of grind your levels up. Your defense goes up. You use magic, your magic goes up. And so on and so forth with all different weapons and skills. And that's individual magic. You don't just cast fireball and your black magic goes up. You got your fireball goes up, lightning goes up, heals go up. It's all individual. Which games like nowadays, like Skyrim, for example, like that's always the first one that comes to my mind. Where the more you do it, the better you get. It works. It doesn't really work in a turn-based RPG, especially an older one like this. Now, I still praise Square for trying to do something different, and they've constantly tried to go through different things, different, trying new stuff in every, especially these early Final Fantasies, which make them all unique and fun, for better or worse. Now, two's not terrible, but 2 has a lot of problems. The level up system is going to be the first thing that kind of slaps you. It's not game breaking. I know people can grind, and there's all kind of ways to kind of break the game. I beat the game just playing through it. I didn't. I mean, maybe grinding for money, but never like doing any advantages to raise my skills up or anything like that. You can get through the game. The problem really is the dungeons. The dungeons are fucking terrible. Like they are just so many dead ends, so many rooms that are just nothing. They literally you go through the door and somehow you're just magically in the center of the room, which guarantees an attack that's just gonna kick your ass. Half the time because combat is very strange. Like I said, if you're not breaking the game, it's a challenge throughout, all the way until the end. By the time you're at the end, it's really not that difficult, and especially if you get, here's a pro player strategy here. Get the fucking blood sword, put it on Firion, and not only will you heal when you do damage, the last boss just absolutely wrecks him. It breaks the game. That's like without even worrying about stat building, you just get the blood sword and you're good. Uh, like I said, not the worst game in the franchise for me. I can get why some people. I know it does have its fans, of course, but like for me, this one is not a great one. Whenever I feel like playing through the entire series, about the only time I ever pick it back up. But I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I own it at least on a Game Boy Advance and PS1. And a Famicom. I did pick up a copy of it when I was in Japan a few years ago. So yeah, that's Final Fantasy 2. It's a decent. The story itself is just decent. You're basically sorry. I went all about the game without the story. The story is Firion and company. Their home village was wiped out by the evil empire. They join the resistance and they go on to save the world. And like they lose their buddy Leon at first, and he shows back up later. But then that's how you get the rotating cast of people that help you throughout the game. Again, it's not a terrible game. It's not my most hated one in the franchise, but it's definitely low on my list. Well, that's going to do it for now. Like I said, these are going to be some quick reviews, trying to put them out here once a week if I can. If you liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about this game. What version did you play, and what were your first thoughts on it? And as always, share the videos, tell your friends, and yeah, we'll catch y'all later. See you.